So we're heading into Homies. We spent 2 days with a Cat D3 excavating the property, so we're going to be heading out there after that. So we're getting building materials for phase 1 of the tiny house, which is our foundation or floor system. So we're going down to grab that much. We can't get everything in one shot for the entire building because we don't have enough room in the truck, so we're just going to get this part of it, get the floor system components and get out there and get it unloaded, and then we'll start putting things together. And it should be interesting. There's a lot of transformation going on the property right now with all the excavating that's going on, so it's been it doesn't look anything like it started, that's for sure. Got a good about 16 hours of dirt work and tree clearing out there over the weekend, so we got a lot of progress to show you, so we'll take a look when we get out there.
Have fun?
A little bit. We're a little frustrating because I'm in a big box store and they're out of things. I guess they wait till they run out before they order more or something. I don't know, maybe they're just running through them fast, but you save a lot of money when you do this on your own, so I guess you got to remember that versus paying somebody else to do it. But this is part of the frustration sometimes when you get in here and you can't find the materials you need because they're not enough of it or they're out of it altogether, and you're waiting for the next shipment to come in, and somebody else is probably waiting too to get more. And so apparently building is hot right now, and so there's a lot of material moving, and so we have to kind of remember that when we're buying material.
And we have to pick through what's left.
Sometimes.
All right, so go find somebody to help us.
Okay. Okay, so we're working on the foundation here for our tiny house. It's 12 by 16. We're going to be setting it on this as our foundation. It's going to be pressure treated 4x4s, and they're either going to be sitting directly on the ground or maybe on a couple of pads depending on how we're leveling, but we got to get them square and level. So we need to be level. The 12 or the 16 foot run this way we need to be level, and we need to also be level going across here the 12 foot way, and then we need to be square so that our boards are all in the right spot so that when we frame our floor on top of this, everything lines up. Okay, so what we did was we didn't have 16 foot runners, and so we bought 12s and added 4 feet onto them, and we use these metal mending plates and Tico nails to mend them together, and there's one on the bottom and one on the top, and that keeps them from moving around and stabilizes them. And then we alternate it, so you can see we got the 4 foot end down there, and then the next one over, the 4 foot ends over here, so we don't have that seam all the way across, which would be weaker. We spread it out, okay? And the ground right here just happens to be probably the hardest ground in the whole property, so we picked a great spot to have to dig and shovel. And so we got it pretty well leveled out. We're going to finish that, but meantime I started cutting all the boards up for the frame or the floor, and so we're kind of going over here now. Remember that all unless you're buying studs, wall studs that are precision trimmed, all your boards are going to be longer than what they say. So if you got an 8-footer, a 10-footer, a 12-footer, that could be anywhere from 1/4 inch to even upwards of an inch longer than that measurement. So if you want a 12-foot board, you're going to have to measure these out and trim them individually to get there. And so I did that on 2 for the outside rims that we're going to do. And then I cut all the other ones to be inside. So these are our 2 rim boards. These are our 16-footers. And again, we had 12s. So we cut an 8-foot 2x6 in half so we could make 16, and we alternated the joints again. So I got a little 4-foot piece down here on this end and a 4-foot piece on that end. Now, if you look, since this is going to be my outside boards, I'm going to run my floor joists in between these. I'm marking them at 16 inch. So we start out with a 2x6 right here between these two, and so we just lay these together and make sure they're even on the end. And we mark 1.5 inches in, and then I made an X just to make it easy to see. 16 inches on center, 3/4 of an inch on either side. I made a mark because our board is 1.5 inches thick. So they're going to correspond as they go across. Same thing. When you get to a seam, you're going to do 3/4 and 3/4. So that's 1.5 inches, and we're going to put our 2x6 right here and then nail these two together into the end of that 2x6 right there.
And we just went all the way down the board this way. So Kevin, someone watching this might be going, dude, it's 16 feet. Why didn't you just buy a 20-foot board and cut it down?
Well, they didn't have 20-footers at the big box store, and they're also a pain in the butt unless you've got a very long vehicle to transport them. I mean, if you have a pickup truck, you can probably hang off the back maybe 4 to 6 feet, which is going to get you less than 20, 14 feet, and then you have to have a flag. And so unless you've got something that'll carry a 20-footer, you're going to have way more board hanging out off your truck than you're going to have in your truck, and that's not a good idea. And this is not unusual for framing. If you're framing a bigger building, you're just not going to get the length that you want. And so what we do is we alternate the seams on these cuts so they're not in the same direct location across from each other, so that they're stronger.
And these are called the sill plates, right? Top and bottom plates?
No, these are these are rim joint. This is the floor. Sill plates are for the wall, top and bottom. That's all right, because that's questions people would ask.
Okay.
So we're going to spread these apart 12 feet. So these two are going to sit out there 12 feet so that these 12-footers are going to sit between them.
Right.
And we're going to nail them together.
So we spent the next several hours laying out all the 2x4s after Kevin carefully measured them and made sure that they were the right length. We had to cut a little tiny bit off of each of the boards, but we got them all in there and the frame all laid out and nailed together so that we could have the frame completed, because we were then going to be insulating it and sheeting it so that it was solid and nothing could get in underneath the insulation. Now you'll notice that Kevin's doing the old-fashioned hand nailing because we did not have power at the property at this point, and we didn't have a generator yet either. We later on got a generator. You'll see us using that when we're doing some other things, but it was definitely quite a bit of work for us that day, but not difficult, just a little time consuming. It was very warm when we were doing this on the property. This was back in, I want to say, October, and we just had crazy amazing weather, and that was warm. And you can see we're doing it right next to where the foundation is, because at some point when we've got the sheeting on one side of that, we're gonna have to flip it over and put it on top and square it up on there.
Take care of me and my fragile heart. It's yours to keep, but it can break apart. I'll take care